Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby. That over there is Gary Ashby. I'm David Thetford, and we're here because it's Saturday morning. And there's no place we'd rather be than right here.
There's not all that many places we'd rather be.
No, we love it here.
Yes. Great
studio here at Raymar, and got Brennan in there producing the show, and he's a pro. We had him when he first started, the first day, I think. He started.
Yep. We've nursed him along.
I know it. It's amazing what we've taught him, really. Now, not to do radio and TV. Don't ever say this. Sometimes we're going to say something, he'll shake his head no.
Oh, you did graduate, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Is this your future or is something else?
Along the lines, yes. I want to be in radio as a sports broadcaster.
Okay.
Right.
You going to go bigger city, smaller town? What are you going to do?
I love Lubbock. Okay. I love being here, so I'm right now right where I want to be.
You could be out at Lubbock Christian and broadcast games.
Well, you mentioned that, and I still do a little bit of that.
But maybe it could turn into something really big.
I think I saw you. Were you at the game the other night against WT?
Yes, I was.
I think I saw you.
I was at the media table.
Well,
okay.
Good.
I was not at the media table, but I was there. And here's what I came away with, David. My gosh, those refs let them play tough. It's somewhere in between football and basketball, what we would call basketball back in the old days.
Kind of like church league.
kind of like call your own fouls. I think more fouls would have been called if they'd say call your own fouls.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe how rough it was. And I tell you, I was out there watching Ty Caswell, and he's an intern at Morgan Stanley and just a great kid.
He's in Wichita Falls, right?
Wichita Falls. And let me tell you what, this kid is –
he's a player. He's a high school game he played in.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's 6'6", and I looked down the deal to see if he was a forward or a center. They still call them centers. Post, what do they call them now?
They don't really call them.
One.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now.
Okay, well, I thought he'd be one of the – and he's a guard.
Yeah.
And he's a shooting guard.
He can play.
And before the game, because I was there to watch him and support him, so I watched him before the game. Now, I wasn't stalking him. I was just watching him. And I got to noticing he was shooting threes from the corner, and I started counting. And at 13, he made 13 in a row, and I think he only hit the rim once. 13 in a row, and the reason he didn't make 14 in a row is because they ran out of time to shoot. So he quit at 13. He could still
be out there.
He could still be making threes from the corner.
How'd Ethan play?
Ethan played pretty good.
Good.
I don't suppose it was one of his best games, but
Ethan Duncan, we're talking about Coach's son.
Coach's boy. But he's a good 3-point shooter. But I can't even imagine him being any better. Todd's probably the best 3-point shooter of that group.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, but he's out of eligibility. But I'm not so sure that Ty wouldn't give Ethan a run for his money on 3-point shooting. So, anyway, it's pretty impressive. Oh, and here's a neat deal. I love Lubbock Christian. I think that's a family atmosphere. I think that the Rip is a wonderful place it's the perfect size. And they got I was just telling you about Ty. Well, he's engaged to Macy Maddox, who's one of the best little players on the girls' team. So you talk about a neat little thing going out there at Lubbock Christian. You got the two of the best players on the men's and women's team engaged, and they're just cute as they can be. So anyway, I'm just a big Lubbock Christian fan. I think they've got – now then, it wouldn't have fit me, my lifestyle, and the way my college days. I mean, but I think it certainly fits a lot of people.
Yeah.
You would have been good at Lubbock Christian.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go to Lubbock Christian?
I probably should have. I could have gone out there.
I don't know.
I mean, I could if I wanted to play basketball.
Yeah. Well, what did you want to do?
Well, I wanted to go to Tech and play basketball, so I went out there for 2 years and played. picadors.
Okay.
Back when we had the picadors, but you got to make smart decisions. And I wasn't into smart decisions.
Well, no, that's what I was getting at earlier.
I was going to go to Tech the whole time, and I did. And Lubbock Christian was also, back then they had the field house, you know.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
where we didn't have
and
the
you could do almost anything at the field house.
Oh.
Speaking of Lubbock Christian, we've got Bubba Jennings on the phone. And
No,
the reason
we
we wanted to get Bubba on, one thing, we love Bubba. And another thing is I looked down at the court at halftime the other day, and I go, hey, looky there, there's Bubba. And Wojo. And Vince Taylor and Ray Irvin's wife and son. That was a neat deal, wasn't it, Bubba?
Yes, sir. Good morning to you guys. How y'all doing?
We're good. Good to hear
great.
your voice, man. Where you been? You been out of town?
Only for about 7 years.
Okay. I knew I didn't see you. I went over to Clovis and looked for you. They don't even remember who you are. Couldn't find you.
Well, you're not in Feaster.
Not in Peaster.
Not in Feaster anymore.
The Easter eggs.
But
Easter eggs.
speaking of Lubbock Christian, you're at a Christian school in the Metroplex, right? You still there?
Right. Arlington Baptist University here in Arlington, and we're doing really well in our region. We were tied for first with the team from Arkansas, and we played them last night and beat them by 16
Attaboy.
at our place. So we're leading the region now. So excited about that, and it was great to be back at Tech. It was great to see all the guys. That's probably the first time we've all been back together. You know, obviously Coach Myers was great, and he was there and everything, and Coach Pruce was there, and Brad Atkins came in, and of course, Wojo and Vince and Greg Crow and Phil Wallace and, I'll probably leaving somebody out. But, man, it was great to see all the guys and great to be together. Really appreciate, Tech having us out there.
Oh, you bet. You bet. Hey, how close was that team to the 8 is enough team? Was that the year before, the year after?
2 years away,
Okay.
We added Phil, Tobin Dota was there as well. He was part of the 8 is enough, and we added Phil Wallace, and we added Greg Crow and Ed Robinson and Mike Nelson and Charles Nelson, and I think that was about it that we added to that team. But yeah, that was an interesting team. The 8 is enough team.
Well, explain to people what we're talking about, because a lot of our listeners probably are either too old to remember it or too young to know about it.
Well, that was a long time ago. So. Anyway, we were playing along, and we had a couple players get suspended, and we had a couple players just decided to leave, and so we ended up with 8 guys. We had to use managers and graduate assistants to practice and everything, and we were still competitive in the league, but it was a tough go. Obviously at that time we were playing against Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler and those guys, so that made it even a little tougher.
They were decent. I'm looking here, Bubba, at your stats at Tech. You played 117 games at Tech. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Do you know how many you started?
I started all of them.
117. That's pretty good.
That was part of the deal.
Oh,
that was part of the deal. When I came to Tech, I had to start, and Coach Myers stayed with that. Even though there was times when he shouldn't have, I wasn't playing well at times, and I needed to be set on the bench for a little bit. But he stayed with me, and everything worked out great. We went through some tough times, from time to time, but in the end, it really paid off, and our team was really good. The biggest disappointment, though, is losing in the NCAA tournament to Boston College on the last-second shot.
Oh no, that was horrible.
We thought we had a good enough team to advance a while in the NCAA tournament, and unfortunately, we let that last-second shot put us out of the tournament.
What was the next round? Where would you have gone?
We would have played Duke. We would have been there in Houston and played Duke, which was not the Duke of today. They were okay. Boston College beat them. And then they played Memphis State, and Memphis State beat them on a last-second shot. So, it was pretty a lot of equality there, but we didn't get it. And then that was the year that Villanova upset Georgetown in the championship game. And
so beat them bad, didn't they? Just shot the lights out.
Yeah, I don't remember. Ed Pinckney was the guy for Villanova that was really good, But anyway, that's kind of how it went. But I like Tech's team; they're really good.
They are good, aren't they? They're fun to watch too. I really like it. I think Coach McCaslin he's the real deal. I think he's really good.
Yeah, college basketball has really changed. We got a chance to go to the shoot-around, and I remember back when I was playing, which was a long time ago, and when I was coaching there, which wasn't that long ago, when you went to the shoot-around or you had practice, you might have, 5 or 6 guys around there, and, you might have 5 or 6 guys that were part of the staff, and, I mean, they got 30 guys as part of the staff.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. In fact, the guys when they go before the game and they go tap hands with slap hands, high five all the way around, they have to catch their breath before they get to the end of the line because they're wore down
and lean over.
You're right.
Yeah.
We didn't do that in my day. We didn't go down the line. I guess that's a new thing. My kids do it at Arlington Baptist. They go down the line, but they only have about 6 people to slap hands with.
I'm sort of anal, so I notice stuff that a lot of people don't notice. But I noticed the other day they go and shake hands with the referees too, or tap whatever they do, that little knucks or whatever they do. And one referee, he's over there stretching, and he's stretching against the deal, and he wouldn't even stop stretching to tap whatever they do. He keeps stretching and leaning against the deal, and he reaches out and tap. And I said, you know what? You've been in the locker room. You've been in the locker room for 30 minutes probably. You could have stretched in there. You don't have to come out in front of 10, 15,000 people and stretch. So anyway.
Gary, think exactly the same.
I guarantee
that's not an endorsement, Bubba.
Hey, Bubba, I don't think I'd say that, Bubba. I wouldn't say that out loud.
He's trying to make everybody look at him. He's showboating out there.
Yeah, he is. Oh, and you ought to see the way he's stretching. I mean, it looked like you're in a ballerina studio. He's over there doing this little ballerina stretch.
I hate him even worse.
Look at me. Yeah. Look at me. Look what I can do.
Yeah.
But he couldn't even stop stretching long enough to give the proper respect to the player coming by. He just reach over here.
I was at the game, Bubba, but I went up top during halftime, and Gary asked me, he goes, "Did you see Bubba?" And I go, "Where?"
I said, "Bubba's going to be on the show," and he says, "Great, how come?" I said, "Well, they had that reunion." He said, "Really? I didn't know about it." I said, "Yeah, they're at halftime."
I'd have come down there and talked to y'all. I'd like to see Phil Wallace and Wojo, and that's so fun to get those guys back together.
Oh yeah, it was a great group. It was fast. We all had to get in there and get out of there, and but it happened fast. It would have been nice to have it on a weekend, where we could have stayed around and beers to and that kind of thing. But I guess this was the time. Part of the reason may have been because Tony was coaching for TCU, and so he was part of that team. But we went out to Las Brisas on Tuesday night and had a really nice dinner. They showed a video of our team. I got there late, so I didn't get to see the video, but we got to visit and tell stories, and Gerald talked, and all the players got up and talked, and so it was really, really a neat deal.
Oh, Gerald's doing great, isn't he?
He is. He's doing really well.
Yeah. Because he's in his mid-80s.
Yeah, and the high 80s.
Do I hear more? Do I hear 90?
High 80s. Where are you? High 80s.
I'm in my high 80s.
You don't want to be too specific.
No, that's great. Well, what was of that group? Did y'all get a chance to visit enough to hear a story about somebody? Like Wojo was a cop out in California. Is he living in Lubbock now?
No, he's back out in California. He's been to Lubbock and lived there a couple times, but he's back out in California. Phil's been in various jobs. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing now. Vince has been in education. Vince has been a principal. He retired. I think he's back in it again, working again in Hobbs now. And let's see, who else? Tobin Doda is retired. I'm not sure what he's retired from, but he's retired. and I'm retired and then came back and coaching again. So,
do you love it? Do you love coaching what you're doing right now at Arlington Baptist?
Oh, absolutely. I love coaching. And
is this it? Are you gonna pass away there?
What's that?
Is this the last place you're gonna be coaching? Or are you looking to move around?
I'm not tied to that.
Okay. I'm flexible.
I'm open to anything.
Okay. Well, do you have the energy to do like NCAA Division I? I think it's a double job what those guys do. Of course, they got about 15 coaches, but Do you have the energy left to do something like that? Because that is a grind.
I'd love to have that opportunity one time.
Okay, there you go.
Just to have a chance to do it, and figure it out and see what we could do. I think we could do a lot. But
you could.
The landscape of college basketball has changed tremendously. I got to be somewhere. I'm going to have to get some money from you guys if I do that. So I can pay these players again. So
that's right.
They paid us. They paid us back in the day, but it wasn't what they're paying us now. It's a little different deal.
Yeah, I know it. Well, it's so fun. You just look at when you coached at Artesia. I came over there and did some games while you were coaching at Artesia. Coronado would come over there and play. And that was a great time. We really enjoyed it. We actually in December we had our it would have been our 20-year reunion of our state championship team, or maybe 30-year reunion of our state championship team that we had there in Artesia. But no, that was great to see those guys, and we got to watch them play, and we got to get together and visit. And so that was really, really nice to get a chance to do that.
Hey, back to this paying players real quickly. We only have 1 minute. I'm sure you've thought about this. What do you think you'd have been worth?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. I think I would have, but I think I would have gone to the same place and stayed there. I don't think I would have skipped around, you know. So anyway, but that would have been nice to have it that they have today, All
right.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Bubba, we know you got to go play golf. Hey, what's your handicap now?
It's 5.
There you go.
Got to get it better.
There you go. All right, Bubba.
Bubba, good talking to you. Thanks for being on.
Great.
Appreciate you.
Take it easy.
You bet.
All right.
Always Jennings. Enjoy it.
Bubba Jennings, one of the all-time Tech greats.
Yeah, and great guys. One of the all-time great guys.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Quarter 4, formerly Cardinals, same place, same people, and just a different name, but still the greatest sports store. I'm telling you, it's such a great, wonderful place. I love to get. I don't even need to buy anything. I just like to go in there and walk around.
Yeah.
Because I just love looking at stuff. They can do uniforms for you, trophies. They do everything. Go in there and see them, and I think you'll be really impressed. Great shoe department, everything for baseball, little league, whatever you're looking for, right there. And women's fashion. How about that? Who would have ever thought?
Yeah.
They got lots of fashion clothes. All right, that is Quarter 4 outside the loop on Slide Road, South Slide. All right, we're going to get now. I think we got Coach on the phone. Do we have him on the phone, Brennan? Through the studio, and he's on Zoom on TV. Coach, thank you for doing this today. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay, we got a text here. Says, congratulations on a good football season. Wishing you the best next season. You live in the town that I loved when I lived there. This is my most favorite town I ever lived in. Go Bulldogs. Huh. Okay. So somebody lived in Abilene and loved it. Abilene's a good town.
It is a good town.
It is.
And it's a good sized town. And
3 colleges at least. Last I counted.
Yeah.
How many colleges y'all got now?
That's right. McMurray. What was really interesting, all 3 of us won our conference championships this year. Hardin-Simmons, McMurray, and us.
That's great. That is great.
Without a doubt.
Well, Graham Harrell, we had Graham on the show, and word was out that he was talking to y'all about the OC job and quarterbacks coach, and it's really cool that he's come. I bet he's so glad to be coming home and getting that back down in that, and be back in Texas and be near his family. That is a great hire, Coach.
No doubt. I mean, just first of all, what a great person he is, and. Just the opportunity and the time that me and him have spent together, and because I knew him obviously as a player, but trying to get to know someone as a coach, and he's going to be an absolute tremendous addition to our staff, and not just. I mean, there's so many obviously Red Raider fans here in town, so now we just activated if Texas Tech's playing on the road. I mean, they still have an option to be able to come out and watch quality football. And he just brings something so much more than just X's and O's, and he's a great person and just brings I can walk him into any high school or any home in the state of Texas, and everybody remembers Graham Harrell.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then to go into the NCAA Hall of Fame, which he's going into fairly soon. I don't know when the induction is, but anyway, that's another feather in his cap. That looks good on the little brochure.
Coach, if you go back and you look at Graham Harrell's records at Texas Tech, it's almost like you go, you're making this up. You got to be making this up. Nobody can do what he did. I mean, the numbers are mind-blowing. They really are, as a quarterback at Texas Tech.
That's right. I mean, and he's just like you would never know it. I mean, he's just such a humble person.
Yeah.
And that's what I respect about him. And he don't, even though that's just something it's just going to be a part of his aura for the rest of his life. It is still just the type of man he is, and I just have the utmost respect for him. He's going to do great things for us here at Abilene.
Well, what are the rest of your staff? Are there some others on your staff that we would know?
Yeah, so obviously hired Joel Filani this past week.
There you go.
On number 8, and I just I had the opportunity to be around Joel when he came for a few years there at Tech, and just had tremendous respect with him, and just watched how he managed our receiver room. And obviously I think he's a really, really good recruiter, really good coach, understands the system, and obviously him and and Graham going to work extremely well with one another. Connor Dubin, who was with us at Texas Tech, who was our analyst, is there. There's another young man I'm getting ready to add that was a former. I can't pronounce his name yet until it becomes official. But and then Nick Holt was our analyst as well, who was Pete Carroll's defensive coordinator back in 2004, 2005 at USC. Not many people, FCS programs, can say, hey, your offense and defensive coordinators were former offense and defensive coordinators at USC.
You got that right. That's pretty impressive.
That's great.
Well, we're so proud for you, Coach, and you deserve it. I hope you're just loving it. And we loved you here at Texas Tech. I mean, you're just a class guy, and you take care of your business, and we were so honored to have you at Texas Tech, and I'm so glad you landed at Abilene Christian, because I just think it's a great job. I think it's a great town and a great job.
It really is. It's a great. Everyone here says it's Lubbock, Texas. 20 years ago, I've told you guys this that after the Liberty Bowl, when I left, absolute Texas Tech was the best place that Melissa and I had ever coached in college football. Just from the standpoint, we've had so many friends, and ran into people last night at the hotel as our recruits were showing up from Texas Tech. And it's just, man, we have such, I had a tremendous experience there. I loved the university, I loved living in Lubbock. And, man, it's just, I don't know. I can't say a negative thing about any of it.
Well, no, we love our current coach, Joey McGuire, but we also loved our last coach, Matt Wells. And that was the staff you were on. And do you talk to Coach? I guess he's up at Kansas State now, so we got to pull again him. But do you talk to him much?
You know what? Every so often, you know how coaching is obviously a very close-knit circle, and I'm not one of those guys that spends a lot of time talking on the phone. But we do communicate back and forth. I have a kid on campus today that he actually had seen out on the road, and he just forwarded me the guy his video, and here he is today on our campus, and probably going to end up signing with us. So it's just there's a lot of really, really good people in this profession, and I've been very blessed. From the Mike Norvells, the Gus Malzahns, and so many people that I've been able. Dan Lanning at Oregon was my GA. So there's just been so many people that I've been able to have these lifetime relationships, and I'm continuing to do it, with all these young 25 and 30-year-old guys. But it keeps me young for sure.
Well, we love it, and I was so thrilled when I heard you were getting that job, because I just think it's, there's some things that are just a fit, and we're very familiar with Abilene Christian and familiar with you, and it just seemed like first thing I thought was that is a perfect fit. You're going to do amazing things there.
No doubt about it, and we have such an unbelievable tradition here. I'm walking in the footsteps of Tonto Coleman, who is from Roscoe, Texas, by way of Phil Campbell, Alabama, played here. He left here in 1949 as the head football coach and went on to Georgia Tech in Florida as an assistant before he became the commissioner of the SEC. And when he passed away in 1973 right here in Abilene, Texas, the commissioner at that time from the SEC flew here and presented the university with a $10,000 check, $1,000 from each school in the university, and said, send us more men like Tonto Coleman. So, man, I've got big shoes to fill, and I just try to do it in a very respectful way.
All right, before we leave Tonto Coleman, do you have any idea? I'm assuming his parents didn't name him Tonto. Do you?
No.
Do you happen to know where the nickname?
Yeah, you can find it in the Sports Illustrated article in 1966. He explains. It's kind of a long story. You may not have time for it, but it's pretty funny.
Okay.
He had actually nicknamed one of his buddies Tonto, and he ended up moving off, so everybody started calling him Tonto. And he goes, and it had nothing to do with the Lone Ranger. So you can Google the 1966. Story. Tonto Coleman, a very interesting man, and from the impact that he had on Darryl Roll's coaching career all the way to so many men that he impacted, and was just a tremendous character here, and started it a long time ago here at ACU.
His name is Arthur Marvin Tonto Coleman.
Yeah.
Arthur he's born July the 7th, 1907.
I guess if your name's Marvin, you're just looking for a nickname.
Yeah. I mean, from everything I've read, he was almost like a Will Rogers. I mean, he was a speaker. I mean, just tremendous. I mean, they actually, when he got done coaching, he actually taught a class at Georgia Tech, and they had a Tonto Coleman Day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, this is cool. I mean, really, I didn't know this story, but this is a great story about. He was a South SEC commissioner.
Yes, sir.
In 1966 until 1972, he was the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference.
That's right. Passed away right here in Abilene in '73, and man, just a tremendous impact that he had on young men, and it's a great story for sure.
Texas Sports Hall of Fame guy. That's a great story. I didn't know that story. All right, Coach. Well, what are y'all doing right now? Are y'all just recruiting?
Well, yeah. I actually just there's a Texas High School Coaches Association meeting here in Abilene today, so I just sent Filani and Graham out there. Got to get those guys earning their paycheck, and then we got recruits on campus. So we're currently doing a campus tour right now, and got a full day of activities here, trying to get some young men to become Wildcats, and then next week we will start getting into offense and defense, get back to football. As we lead up, we got about 5 weeks before spring football will start of training, and then so we'll have about a little bit more than a month to be able to install our offense and defense, and get ready to go for spring football.
All right, you're talking about that in town today. I'll tell you, the neat thing about Abilene is it's right in between Lubbock and the Metroplex and El Paso. So there's lots of playoff games, baseball, football, basketball, in Abilene. So people get to come and either play in your stadium or in your town. So that's got to be a little bit of a plus.
There's no doubt. And it's in every sport. I mean, we host regional track meets in our. Yeah. You've seen our. You will be blown away when you see the new baseball facility, and I just off the top of my head, I think initially it was over a $20 million project, and it is going to be big time. And then, the football stadium is beautiful. Then you have a great track facility. And, I mean, there is softball, basketball, football. There's people on our campus constantly. And so it is. To be able to sit there and have those football games, like you said, to be able to host those and be able to just sit there and watch, and kids are familiar with our campus without ever even having to come to a camp or anything like that to be evaluated. So it's definitely a positive for sure.
Well, I just feel, you can just sense, you feel Keith's love for what you're doing and where you're doing it, and that's neat.
I think you're right where you're supposed to be. Do you kind of have that feeling, Keith?
I do. I've told a group of people just earlier, I said, I've been doing this as my 39th year.
Wow.
I said, I've been at a football game since 1964, every Friday and or Saturday, a college football game since 1964. I told them, I said, I don't feel like I've gone to work a day in my life. I got into coaching to make a difference in the lives of people first and foremost, and then just trying to help young men see the 35-year-old version of themselves. So I don't see that as work. I just see that as a tremendous opportunity to bring out the best in people instead of accept the worst.
Well, save me trying to do the math on this thing. You're older than you look. I mean, give me a ballpark how old you are.
You're older than you look.
Yeah. Just give me a ballpark how old you are.
I'll be 61 in May.
Okay.
Melissa always gets upset. She goes, "Why do you say that?" I said, because I like to live my life with the end in mind.
Yeah. Well, Gary and I get all the time, you guys are less mature than you look. Than your age. Yeah. We get that a lot. But
no doubt.
You're so. I guarantee ACU is blessed to have you there. I'm sure they know it. We're not telling them something they don't know, and we just look forward to all the things you're going to do and the campus and everything. It's just wonderful.
David's been there a bunch, so he knows his way around and all that. But I'm gonna come one day and I know you're too busy to show me around, but you can get. What was your little buddies there? That we had there.
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle. Eddie the Eagle can show me around.
That's right, because I'll throw Graham and Filani on there with you as well.
Oh, there you go.
They're missing the campus tour right now, so no, it's a beautiful campus and the vision. You ought to see our golf facility. Our golf facility is, second to none. They got like 4 or 5 little par threes. And a driving range, simulator, it's big time. So you'll be blown away. But you need to do that. Y'all ought to drive over one day, and we'll show you around and give you an inside look at our program.
Well, I'm a little bit like Corky. I'll need to go by the dining hall too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll take you to either the Shed or Jay's Barbecue Shack.
There you go.
We'll take you somewhere.
If I come down there for basketball playoffs, or I'll definitely be there for softball.
You will.
I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna get you to take me around and show me.
Do it. We'd love to.
All right, Coach. We're about done, but we certainly appreciate you, and we'll catch you next football season. I guess we got you right before your first game this year. We'll try to do that this coming year if you're willing and able.
Yeah, we start off with the University of Tulsa, and then we get to play the Horned Frogs over in Fort Worth.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
That's great. That's great. We need to get you back on tech schedule.
Yeah, no, you know what? That would be I would love to be able to play. I'd love to play them every year.
You bet.
Just because it was such an easy trip for us. And our conference goes from North Alabama and West Georgia all the way to Southern Utah. So that was just unbelievable.
Coach, appreciate you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, Coach Patterson.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
We'll tell you that R.C. Taylor, I wanted to wait. I started talking about him, but people in Midland, Odessa, because it gives us more range. It's out there, more places. Y'all need to get with R.C. Taylor. It's right here in Lubbock, Texas, Lubbock Company. and they will bring you convenience store type items right to your door and unload them for you. It's the greatest thing. And for you, convenience stores use them, but also booster clubs and concession stands, and all those people need them.
So when people are sitting around the table talking about, what do you think is the greatest thing?
What?
Well, you just
it's R.C.
said
Taylor.
It's R.C. Taylor delivering.
Yeah. Did I say it was the greatest
You said
thing?
it's the greatest thing.
Well, it's the greatest thing in that sense. It's just in delivering.
It's the greatest thing. I thought, wow.
Not ever of all
What are the
time.
odds of that? And they
Who'd have thought in their
advertise with us.
Well, that's the reason they're the greatest thing.
They're the greatest thing.
That would have never happened without
phenomenal.
us. It was just a figure of speech.
Okay.
Anyway, R.C. Taylor Distributing Company, you ought to get them on your list. If maybe you just like pickles or something. Maybe they'll bring it to your house here in Lubbock. I don't know.
125 miles. Here's your jar of pickles.
I don't know if they'll go that far for one jar of pickles. But
No.
if they may,
Hey, but call and see.
bring it to your house. I need some chips.
Okay, here's a texter that says, and it's Dr. Gus says, make Brennan give you the Chap baseball update they opened this weekend.
Whoa.
And I'll tell you this, Dr. Gus, we don't make Brennan do anything. We ask Brennan.
He's in charge.
And if he's in charge of his own life. And if
he's got his hair fixed.
If he
nice
wants
today.
to, we will let him give us Shap update. Give us a Shap baseball update.
So they opened the season yesterday against UT Tyler, and they fell in extra innings. They scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th to tie that game, but gave up a run in the top of the 10th to fall in their opener. But a good game against a really good UT Tyler team, and this is a season where Chaparral's lost a lot of older guys from last season, but looking to rebuild off of last year's Super Regional run. They'll play 2 games today, doubleheader at Hayes Field at 1 p.m., and then series finale tomorrow, I think at either 1 p.m. or 2 p.m.
Okay.
So you're telling us they hadn't won a game this year?
But they will.
Technically speaking, yes.
But they will.
But it's a long season.
Don't you love Nathan Blackwood? This guy is so awesome.
Fantastic guy.
He is
fantastic
awesome.
human being. Has a great coaching staff.
He's a great coaching staff. He's a great coach, and he is a referee too. Which,
Oh, wow.
And he calls a lot of high school games out at Lowry Field, Plains Capital Park, Lowry Field, and he is a great official. And you don't hear that very often.
Okay.
We've got some good ones in Lubbock.
We have officially what is it called?
Transitioned.
Transition to football. You ready?
NFL.
Top 5 draft players in the draft. 2 of them are Colorado Buffaloes.
No way.
Two
Sanders.
of them are Big 12.
Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter.
And then Cam Ward's in there. Will Campbell, an offensive tackle at LSU, and Mason Graham, defensive tackle from UM. You think that's Michigan? UM.
I would think
Minnesota?
I would think Missouri. I don't know.
UM.
University of Maine.
He went to All right. And Will Johnson, a cornerback from They're both going in the top 6.
Well, let's find out where it is.
All right. What is?
No, tell me what the name of the player was.
Will.
Somebody will text it to me before
Do Mason Graham. Do Mason Graham.
Mason Graham.
All right. The Chiefs play the Eagles this week. The Chiefs beat the Eagles 2 years ago in the 3rd highest scoring Super Bowl ever.
Michigan.
UM is
Michigan.
Okay. I think the fact that they're going 2 of them in the top 6 picks, you have to go. It's probably
Shouldn't have said Missouri or
not
Maine.
or
Montana.
Minnesota. All right. Nah, I'm going to skip that. The final score was 38-35. All right. The 4 Falls of Buffalo. Jim Kelly's Buffalo Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s. Now Josh Allen's Bills have lost 4 straight playoff games to the Chiefs in the 2020s. It's the Patrick Mahomes era, and we're just all living in it.
Yep. Allen
included.
Exactly right.
The Chiefs are slight favorites. I don't know if this has changed or not. They were 1.5-point favorites. And
yes, they
49.5. Of course, we can talk about the Super Bowl next week, can't we?
Yep.
All right. The Cowboys got that super hire of Brian Schottenheimer. And Let's see. His father coached in the NFL. There are 7 other father-sons that have been head coaches in the NFL. Can you or the Big B name any of them?
Bum and Wade Phillips.
That's absolutely right. Well, you jumped on that one.
I know. I get it before Brennan did.
Okay, there's Mora. There's more of them.
Jim Mora.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Jim and Jim.
And his son Jim.
I didn't think you'd know any of them.
Huh?
No, nah.
Just tell me
I
who
can't
it
get
is.
Dick and Mike Nolan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you should get this one. Undefeated team. I think the only undefeated team.
Shula.
Yep.
Yeah, the Shulas.
Don and Dave. Mike and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
And Bill and Brian Callahan. Shanahan and Callahan.
Shanahan. It sounded like a
There you go.
Dirty Harry movie. What was his name? Callahan? It was.
I think it was.
Dirty Harry. Harry Callahan.
Make My Day. Was that the Make My Day movie?
Yeah. You got to ask yourself one question.
Do you feel,
I feel lucky
today?
Those were great movies.
Okay, teams that score, listen to this, teams that score 4+ touchdowns and commit 0 turnovers are 21-2 in the playoffs since 2020. The 2 losses, Bills at Chiefs and Bills at Chiefs. It's just not meant to be, Buffalo.
I know. Buffalo, they're the most happy. You know, you go back to Jim Kelly that you were talking about earlier, and now they got this thing with the Chiefs. They can't beat them in the playoffs.
It's a weird deal.
You go to 4 Super Bowls and don't win any of them.
Yeah. And have a kick. You just got to kick a field goal and you win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. This is titled GOAT Trajectory. All right, Mahomes has been an NFL starter for 7 seasons. In 5 of those seasons, he's led the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. The other 2, he lost in overtime of the AFC Championship game.
Or that would have been another one. Yeah.
That would have been 7.
I will tell you this. I was looking at the numbers between Brady and Mahomes, Tom Brady and Mahomes, through the exact same number of games, the games that Mahomes has played.
Okay, 100 and whatever.
112 or 21, something like that. So they went back and looked at Brady through that same number of games in his career. Mahomes is ahead of him in every category. Yards passing, touchdowns, everything.
And I told David, Brady's first 100 games or something, I think it wasn't quite as much offense as there is now, but I might be wrong.
So, I think they had a bunch. Great receivers.
Yeah.
Wes Welker and.
Well, I tell you, if he wins this one, it's going to be
hard to say.
Yeah.
He's not the best ever.
All right. So you Eagles fans that are getting irritated with all this Chiefs talk, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, 15 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns, scored on his first 2 touches. And the Eagles had 7 rushing touchdowns. It's tied for the most in a playoff game with that's right, 1940 Bears.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Who also did it against Washington.
I think this Saquon Barkley's a good dude.
Yeah, he seemed like it.
You know,
handles himself well.
When I saw him jump backwards over that guy, I'm like, who does that?
That's legendary. That's the stuff.
That's Barry Sanders right there. Yeah. Barry Sanders, in my opinion, is the greatest running back that ever played the game. I mean, just total running back. But Saquon Barkley, he may be giving him a challenge. This guy's really good. I don't know what Kansas City's going. You know, Kansas City, they don't seem like as good as they have been the last 2 years. Did they seem that way?
They just sort of got by. Last year they just sort of got by.
Yeah, they just sort of win.
Yeah, they just sort of win.
And they, I don't think the line is Kansas City's 1.5 or 2 or whatever it is.
I will 100% bet on Philadelphia.
Everybody thinks Philadelphia's going to win that I hear talking.
Well, wait a minute. Go back a week or so ago, and people said whoever wins, the Bills and the Chiefs, is going to win the Super Bowl easily.
Now they don't.
And then all of a sudden you watch Philadelphia play. Well, not so quick. So hopefully it's a good game. I mean, not all Super Bowls have been good games. Some of them have been blowouts. But
yeah.
All right, I'm not going to tell you about the kid in Colorado that got hit with a hammer. It went through the net and He was sitting in the stands.
Kill him?
Killed him.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, but since we've moved on, we've transitioned. Okay, 57 million viewers watched the Chiefs and the Bills, making it the most watched AFC Championship game ever in the history of ever. Let's see. The Eagles and Commanders NFC title game, which kicked off at 3. I think that's the difference between having the night game and the afternoon game.
Yeah.
They had 44 million on Fox. So there you have it.
I'm trying to find this.
Or what you're looking
Kansas City is a 1.5-point favorite. 49 points is the over and under. But if you just look at the fan picks, they're all picking the Eagles. I mean, the large percentage are picking the Eagles. Not against the spread, just to win the game.
Well, that's about the same difference.
Yeah, when it's 1.5.
Yeah, that's pretty much the. Not that you wouldn't want to have that point if you could. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews dropped a critical two-point conversion in Baltimore's loss to Buffalo, and the Bills fans responded by donating $145,000. Well, Ravens fans are now rallying around Bills tight end Dalton Kincaid, who dropped a critical pass of his own in Sunday's game and has donated $30,000 and counting to organizations that he sponsors. Wow.
Very nice.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
And I tell you, the more I see the replay of that, the more I think he should have caught that.
Which game?
The last play of the Chiefs game.
Yeah, he should have caught it. But it's a miracle it was even there to be caught.
Yeah, isn't it? That would have been one of the all-time. That would have been like where he
helmet deal,
where he pinned the ball to his helmet.
That'd be like Franco Harris. I mean, that was like one of the craziest plays ever.
We've laid a lot of knowledge on people today. I'm going to skip this one, though.
People can only handle so much.
Yeah, I think y'all learned enough for one day, so I threw that away.
Now, the football power index, whatever that is, has Philadelphia winning 56.2%. They think they'll win. They think they'll win the game by 2.3 or more. But the Kansas City's favored, and I just think the bookies. I'm not ever sure really what's going on. I think something's going on. Every time I see a point spread, I go, something's going on.
Well,
they want to make money.
Well, Houston's favored by 9.5 this afternoon, unless that's changed, and it could have changed.
That's a lot
against the Red Raiders.
That concerns me that it's so much.
Houston is like way good.
Yep,
and plays way good defense, and I don't know if our main. Guys. I'm going to call it not our best player, but our
Williams,
the guy you look to for leadership. I don't know if Williams is playing or not. Have you heard?
He better. I'm telling you.
He's a game-time decision.
He's a big-time player. But he hadn't been right here lately.
He hadn't been right.
You've been listening to the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live Saturday mornings from 9 to noon on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.